Hi there. Welcome back. I'm Abby Hagyard, and just before we get started, I'm going to click on this clever little tech thing that allows me to say, "Hi, everybody. Welcome back" in print. So here we are. It is 2 days, probably really one day, before the official St. Patrick's Day madness begins. And I don't care whether you're Irish or not, everybody decides it's a good time to be Irish this coming weekend because it's time to blow off steam. And And I think that by saying that, by starting this video today by saying that to all my Irish people, good morning, all of you. Um, it's part of the theme today, which what I want to talk about, and I'll introduce myself to the new guys in a second. What I want to talk about today is the question is, how do people know you? So we're going to get to that because it's not just us; it's also them. So before we go there, um, a quick sip. I cannot get over how amazing it must have been in that village the first time somebody did that. And everybody said, "Oh, do that again." As opposed to, all the other stuff that we tried and was noxious. So for the new people, I'm Abby Hagyard. For the old people, I'm still Abby Hagyard. And, and for the in-between people, I'm Abby Hagyard. It's kind of a consistent theme here. And what I'm doing with these videos is I'm coming back into the today conversation on my terms, as me, as the collaboration and the compilation and the connections and the collections of all of the me's that I have been before, that I may have been known by. And the reason I say that is because this, again, is what we're talking about all through all these videos. Who are we and why are we and why aren't we doing that? And why don't these pants fit? And the reason I'm doing it is because there's a lot of stuff people are struggling with these days. A lot of stuff. I was talking to a colleague the other day, and she said she'd bumped into somebody that she'd known forever and a half, and said, "I haven't seen you. What have you been up to?" And the answer was nothing. The answer was, "I've actually taken myself off work for a while. I just can't cope." "Oh no, is something wrong?" "Yes, and I don't know what it is." So she was telling me this, and I said, I know, it's pervasive. It really is. And it's kind of snuck up on a lot of us. And so when I saw it kind of emerging a couple of years ago, and I recognized it as a thing that happens to a lot of people, not so much to military brats, and I'll go into that in a second, but um, it blindsides us. We don't see it coming. And we don't, we it's scary because we don't seem to have the tools. Or if we have the tools, we don't seem to have the toolbox and or where it is. We can maybe stumble over it, but we're just kind of out of ideas and energy. And it's a whole lot easier when we hit those combined walls to just sort of sit down and say, "I guess I'm done." And the number of people I bump into who tell me, "Well, I haven't really been doing this much, but I'm getting older." And 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 I look at them and I say, "Well, we get older every day. It's not a new thing. As you get older, you get taller or shorter or wider or not. But what does age have to do with anything?" "Oh, well, when you get to be my age." And in a lot of cases, I say, if I know them really well, "Honey, I've been your age. I didn't like it. Moving on. Let's try this one. Oh, that's better. I look cute in this one." And again, I was about to say it baffles me, but it doesn't really, because military people are trained a little differently. So for the new people, thank you for joining me. I just hooked this whole system that I'm not quite sure how it works onto LinkedIn, so I'm getting more people there. And oh my gosh, Joe Driscoll reached out the other day and said, "So what are the numbers on YouTube these days?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I haven't even looked." And because the last time, 5 weeks ago, we were at 310, I think, or 38. And I said I only need 192 to get to 500. And I looked, and we were at 320. And I said, "Oh my gosh, Joe, 320." So I looked again this morning, it's 322. So thank you. Thank you for looking at the link and saying, "Yeah, what the heck?" and giving it a like and a subscribe, because there's a process involved. I don't know whether I've mentioned it recently, but about 3 or 4 years ago, somebody I was complaining again, yet again, that the clonies had been at it again. And somebody said, if you go on Facebook and you get the little blue check mark, it's harder to hold you hostage. And I said, "Oh, how do you do that?" "Well, you just go apply. They just want to know who you are, and if you're recognized enough that you deserve to have the little blue check." And I thought, well, fluffing my everything, right? I went and I applied it. Yeah, add the links that indicate that we can look you up and everything. So I did the Wikipedia, and I did in the Internet Movie Database and whatever, right? And the reply I got back was, "Well, you don't qualify yet, but keep at it. You'll make it." And I thought, okay, I don't, okay. So I went and cut myself a really good sized slice of humble pie and sat there. Oh, how the mighty are humbled. So, in any case, we are here not to right that wrong, because whatever that is, we are here to talk about why things don't seem to be going the way we thought they would. And twice a week, I do these videos. Twice a week, I have a theme. Twice a week, what I am doing is I am guiding us toward the launch of this mentoring concept, this idea that if we have the conversations with people who have the tools, know where the tools are, know which end of the tools to hold, we can correct the small confusions that we've accumulated along the way. We can declutter those confusions. We can sit back and think about that story we thought we were told and say, well, that doesn't make any sense. That couldn't have happened that way. And then realize that in a lot of cases, we have been following a blueprint that either didn't exist at all, or if it did, it was designed for someone else and it isn't ours to own. And as soon as we see that, we always say, well, for heaven's sakes, why am I bothering with that? That doesn't make any sense. It never did, but I thought it was just sort of the way I'm supposed to. Holy cow. So that's my process. That's my purpose. And I'm calling it pivotry in motion, because before you can actually do the pivot, you have to say inside here, yeah, I don't like that anymore. I'm ready. I'm not sure what I'm ready for, but I'm ready. And I call that pivotry because it's kind of a dance. It's kind of an art form. It's like poetry. It's like winery. It is a design strategy for the steps ahead. And the reason I call it pivotry in motion is that we constantly are. We're never not. And getting us in the right mindset, getting us ready to let go of what the hell was that, gives us our free hands to pick up the new stuff and just be what we were always meant to be. My goal is to stop listening to people who say, you have to do more. You need to be more like that person. You need to try this. My answer always is, you first. Let me know how it works for you. Because we already are all of it. We've just put it away. And we can't quite remember where. My job is to show you. That's it. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how you used to do it, how you always do it without thinking, and how we now can do it while thinking, which makes a big difference. Anyway, that's the backstory. Here we are. How do people know you? How do they know us? And the question I posed was, is it do they know us by the things that we do and say? I mean, here I am. This is my little office in my beautiful little apartment. And I have souvenirs, wrong side. I have Mom, and I have the Care Bears, and I have, Teddy Ruxpin, and I have For Better For Worse, and I have all my shoes and my modeling pictures from the good old Florida days, and the books. There's a pile of books down in the corner there. Can you see them? Yeah, down there, down there. For God's sake, don't ask me directions. Somebody said the other day, how many books have you done? And I said, how many have I done? That's a good way of describing it. And I did this, and I took my socks off and I counted on my toes. And so here's what I've done. When there wasn't a job, I created one. When there wasn't a play, a story, a role, I invented one so I could keep working and keep putting food on the table. And along the way, when show business hit a wall in my corner of the world, and there really weren't any productions, I discovered that I could join a writer's agency, sign myself on by some anonymous name, and write for other people, ghost for them, edit for them, curate their stories. If they had great stories, but not really the skill in telling them, then I would do that with them. Edit their stuff that they'd poured out their soul with, and it was all a mumble jumble. Clean it all up, put it in the order in which they thought they wanted it to come, and then help them publish it and sell it. So I started doing that in 2004. So that's 20 years ago. And I've done 40 books. That doesn't count the stage plays that I wrote and performed. 40 books from start to finish, 40 books that made it. A bunch of other books from the agency that people just said, okay, thanks, I don't want to publish. Okay. Put it under the short leg on the desk and give it a pat every so often. And how on earth do you do 40 books? Somebody said the other day, I said, well, you don't do them all in 1 week. You do a little bit here and a little bit there. And you do what you can to give people pride of ownership of their story. You do what you can to give it to them in a format, in a framework that they can say, this is mine. See, it's my name on it, everything. And it's a wonderful journey. There's not a lot of bright lights, and most of the books, my name's on the inside because I'm either the curator, or I'm the editor, or I'm the ghost, right? And the deal with that is that it's their book, their name, and that's perfectly fine. The thing that's wonderful about those stories, in the learning them and the question asking, is how I was able to say, how do you want people to know you? What do you want them to take away? Oh, I never thought about it. Okay, well, let's do that. Let's talk about what it is you want them to know about you, about this, and about them. So every single one of them was an exercise in profiling purpose and priorities and passions. And that's very cool. That is maybe the most exciting thing ever. Not as much glory and glam, granted. However, really cool having those conversations, because we never have them with anybody. We never focus on why we're here and what it is we want to see at the end of every day. We don't do that. We're too busy shoveling snow, or remembering to buy something healthy to eat instead of another package of cheese doodles. So how people know us is an interesting. Vern, good morning. Struggling with power outage and an iPhone with not enough power to watch live. I can't even groom the dogs. I'm pivoting. Oh, no, Vern, actually, I think you're spinning. But if you're pivoting, you're hitting edges. Slow down. Breathe, my friend. Breathe. So you see, Vern lives out in the country. Power outages. I've moved after living out in the country. I've moved into a beautiful, sweet, small, lovely downtown space, and everybody's very kind in this place, and I'm just so grateful to be here. So that was my pivot dream. And so let's talk about us. Let's talk about us people today. We start by saying, so I'm this, and then we get to decide whether or not to stay with it. Now, as a military kid, you get to change it every time you move. And just hope that the people at the previous posting aren't coming with you. When did you become a blonde? Shit. The story is where we're going. Some of it is based on where we've been. Some of it is based on where we are. The challenges with where we're going, in a large way, are the product of where we were and where we are. Because those are our starting points. People like us do things like this. No one in our family has ever. That kind of thing. So the how do people know us? And I posted today on Facebook, I posted a picture of Mom and I posted a picture of me. And so how do people know me? Coming onto social media, my goal was to give myself an opportunity and the people who thought they knew me that same opportunity to see the bigger picture, to see Mom in the context of Abby and Abby in the context of Mom, and what came before Mom and what's come after, with a few little Care Bears and Hobbs and Hobbits and Fobs and whatnot along the way. And all of our stories are that way. Mine accidentally tripped over something and ended up in the bright lights of television. And a couple of the shows got syndicated. Not my doing. I was just in the room. And a lot of our lives happen that way. We were just in the room. We were just walking by when the oven fell out of that airplane going by. Sometimes the thing that happens is terrifying, sometimes it's tragic, and sometimes it's terrific. And we never really know until the moment. I'm also hearing from a lot of people who are losing loved ones, and they have never, ever thought about their now what. They have never thought about who they are, how they know them as a standalone when they've been part of another life story, a shared life story. And my God, but you feel set adrift. You feel like you woke up in this little boat of yours and the rudder is missing. And someone dropped the anchor rope and you're out there in the middle of the fjord. And you have no idea. I mean, know how to get back, but you have no idea how you got here. And that's terrifying. So how people know us is predicated on a lot of things. And one of them is their readiness, people's readiness, people's willingness, people's ability to look up from their own crisis and even notice that we're there. And they're so wrapped up, they're so spun out, they can barely see us, let alone hear us, let alone have the curiosity to wonder what we're doing and why we're here. They're either in freeze or overwhelm or stuck. And that is how people are seeing everything today. So the question is actually kind of complicated and kind of interesting. The phrase I heard was high functioning freeze. Now I know what high functioning introvert is because I are one. I started out very shy and then gradually discovered that I was quicker than a lot of people. And that became my skill, my talent, my expertise. And then I discovered that I was funny. And then there was no hope for anyone. But before that, very shy, because we kept moving and I didn't know where anything was and what I'm supposed to say. My hands were wet. I don't want to shake anybody's hands, right? Just terrified. Can't find the house, feel like a moron. I'm 15. How could I not find my house? Because it was a new house. And who are you? And where's school? And I don't know where my locker is and I can't figure out anything. And I forgot my homework. Oh, did the dog eat it? No, it's in a box somewhere and we haven't unpacked. And all of my life was a confusion and a swirl. And in the midst of high functioning introvert, I was also in overwhelm for a lot of my years. And then somewhere along the way, maybe that car accident in my teens, maybe that knocked the overwhelm out of me. And I was just so incredibly grateful to even be here, right? And I knew how lucky I was, mostly because the doctors kept saying, cannot believe you're still here. Must be some plan for you. And all I could think of was, well, I hope it's not another one of those accidents, I'll tell you. And when we got out of the hospital, my girlfriend and I were in a car accident. We'd gone to see some people, and we bumped into a couple of servicemen who worked with my dad, and they said, we'll drive you back. And we knew that they had good intentions because my father was a terrifying individual you didn't want to cross. And we were in a horrific car crash. Horrific, absolutely. Nobody thought anybody would survive. And we all did. And my girlfriend and I were the only ones who had any significant injuries. And I'm fine. So is she. She's amazing. And from that time, I've always said to myself, I got a bonus. I got a bonus at the age of teen. So every year after this is an extra. Every year after this is more cake. Would you like the corner piece with the icing? Wow. Yeah, absolutely. So how people know who I am, they know somebody who doesn't quit. They know somebody who is funny. They know somebody who is has taken cheerful to a new level of annoying because it's a bonus. It's a present. It's a gift. My God. And even when things are terrible, and there have been terribles. There have been several terribles, and I did not enjoy any of them. I was once involved in a court case, and I think the cherry on the icing of the dreadful cake of that experience was that on top of everything else, A, that it was a frivolous case, B, that it cost me every dime I had, C, that I was plastered all over the front page of the newspaper, D, everybody is saying, how could you do a thing like that? I didn't, that's the point. The court artist, the sketch artist, drew me with a double chin. I mean, okay, I looked remarkably unfortunate as mom, but that was on purpose. That was for you know what I'm saying. And you think to yourself, what is there no? Why, right? And the answer is because I wasn't supposed to do that again. I wasn't supposed to go out on a limb for all those people again. I wasn't supposed to be the only one believing in an idea again. The lesson I was to learn, don't do it alone again. because I didn't know you could do it any other way. So yeah, lots of horribles. At the end of each horrible, in the middle of each horrible, was another bonus day. How can I not be cheerful? Is my logic. So how people know me, that's theirs to own. How they get to know me is up to me. And that's the thing I want to talk about today. The question I'm asking you is, how do you let people know you? What do you give them as the takeaway? Tried to watch live, it's hung up. Oh, really? I wonder what that is. I wonder what that is. You know what I'll do? I'll what time is it here? It's 10:25. I'll do a couple more minutes. Thank you, Phil. I'll do a couple more minutes and I'll start again. Okay? Thank you. So everything that I want to say, and I will reiterate when I start again, is this. How do we give people the tools and the information and the nugget that allows them to say, they look interesting. I wonder who they are. Maybe I'll say hey today. All right, I'm going to pause it there. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to start again. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Vern. Be right back.